All right, the drama just won't stop for CBS. We got to look at the threatening text that cost a 60-minute executive producer his job. Jeff Fager was fired after decades of working for the network. He sent CBS reporter Jerrica Duncan a text message that read, quote, "If you repeat these false allegations without any of your own reporting, you will be held responsible. Be careful, there are people who lost their job trying to harm me." Here's what she said about it on CBS this morning.
Do you view it as a threat?
I did.
Yes.
And it's even hard to say that today because, yes, we do receive harsh language all the time, but this is someone who held an enormous amount of power here, who I respected.
All right, and I think her name was Jerrica or Jerk. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but Jerrica. Okay, there you go. But what do we think about this? For me, just looking at that when I first saw this, it's threatening to me. If I saw that, I'd be threatened. But I would like to see the context of which it was pulled from.
And that's fair. I think that's really fair to ask. But unfortunately for him, we know the context of which it was pulled from. And the fact was that he had been accused by a number of people of being sexually inappropriate, and now more people have come forward since he's actually since he's been back in. I think the issue here is no reporter ever wants to become the story. So for her to have to sit at the desk and talk about it in first person as it happens is a very uncomfortable situation for anyone to be in. But I think she handled herself really well, and I think that there's a real changing of the guard across the board in corporate America.
Yeah, I think you just have to be careful when we talk of abuse of power is when you write, if you do this, then you do this, be careful. And you come from a position that's almost godlike. In Hollywood, Les Moonves and those guys were almost like God to a lot of people. When you come from that position of power, you better be careful about what you're writing and how you write it, especially because it's evidence, but also because it comes from a different place when it's way up there to someone way down there.
But you just said be careful of what you write. He wrote that exact same thing to her.
But if I were the head of Tegna and said to be careful to you, totally different.
How do you take this, Bo?
You know, it made me think about Spotlight, the movie, and the Catholic Church and what's going on there. When the church was trying to strong-arm the Boston Globe into not printing those stories about those priests. That's what it reminded me of. This is abuse of power on its highest level. And when you have executives doing this time and time again, the buck's got to stop somewhere. We've had Les Moonves, that created a light on this. We had Charlie Rose, all in the same network. So we're seeing a pattern of behavior. I think, Erica, to speak to your point, it sounds like we're not taking it out of context, that there are additional examples of how this man behaved.